I watched from the shadows as my former best friend walked down the aisle in my wedding dress design toward my ex-fiancée. They looked perfect together until he pulled out his phone and showed the entire wedding party the proof I'd sent him just hours before. Karma has perfect timing. Before I reveal how my backstabbing best friend nearly married the love of my life using my designs, hit that like button and subscribe for more shocking true stories that'll have your jaw on the floor. I never thought I'd be telling this story. Even now, my hands shake a little as the memories flood back. 2 years ago, I was just another fashion design graduate with a sketchbook full of dreams and an apartment barely big enough to hold my sewing machine. Every night, I'd stay up until 3 a.m., fingers pricked with needles, surrounded by fabric scraps and coffee cups, convinced that someday my designs would grace magazine covers. That's the thing about dreams. They make you believe impossible things are just around the corner. And then, as if the universe decided to prove me right, I met James. Not at some glamorous industry event where I belonged, but at a charity gala where I was helping dress the models as an unpaid assistant. He wasn't like the other tech executives there. There was something genuine about the way he asked about my work, like he actually cared about the answer. When he looked at my phone gallery of designs, his eyes lit up with recognition. "This is extraordinary," he said, and in that moment, I believed him. James wasn't just handsome and wealthy. He saw something in me that I sometimes doubted existed. Our romance was like something from a movie I never thought I'd star in. Late-night conversations about our dreams, surprise visits to my tiny studio, with takeout when I was working late, his patient encouragement when rejection letters came. 6 months in, James suggested converting part of his penthouse into a design studio for me. "Your talent deserves the right space to grow," he said. I cried that night, not just because of his generosity, but because someone finally believed in me the way I'd always hoped someone would. Then there was Vanessa, my rock since design school. We'd pulled all-nighters together, cried over harsh critiques from professors, celebrated our small victories with cheap wine. She was the one who held my hair back after my first Fashion Week rejection, who helped me rebuild when my initial collection fell apart 3 days before a crucial showcase. When James came into my life, introducing them felt like merging my past and future into something perfect. "You've hit the jackpot," Vanessa whispered at our first dinner together, squeezing my hand under the table, "both in love and for your career." I remember how her eyes followed him that night, but I dismissed it as admiration. God, I wish I'd paid attention to those early signs. I still remember the night James proposed. We were at the observation deck of the city tower, the place where we'd had our third date. He talked about building a life together, about launching my first major collection under my own label. "I believe in you," he said, slipping the ring on my finger. "And I want the world to see what I see." That night, dizzy with happiness, I called Vanessa first. She screamed with excitement, insisted on coming over with champagne. And because she was my best friend, the sister I never had, I showed her my most treasured creation, sketches for my own wedding dress, a design I'd been perfecting for years, infused with elements that told our love story. She studied every detail, asked about every stitch and seam. "This is your masterpiece," she said, eyes wide with what I thought was admiration. If only I'd recognized the calculation behind her smile. I didn't know then that I'd just handed her the blueprint for my destruction. I didn't know that the two people I trusted most in the world were about to teach me the hardest lesson of my life. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to how it all unraveled, thread by treacherous thread. The months after our engagement were a whirlwind. James introduced me to industry contacts who'd never returned my emails before. Suddenly, doors that had been firmly shut began to crack open. I had a small workspace in his company building, and for the first time my designs were being taken seriously. Not just because of James, though I can't deny his name helped, but because I finally had the resources to bring my visions to life properly. Vanessa became a fixture in our lives. She'd drop by my studio unannounced, bringing coffee and staying for hours, watching me work. "I'm learning from the best," she'd say. I was flattered, blind to how her eyes tracked my every sketch, how her phone would occasionally flash when I stepped away. When James invited her to dinner parties with potential investors, I was grateful for her support. I never noticed how she'd steer conversations toward my design process, or how she'd volunteer to organize my digital portfolio to help me stay focused on creating. Strange things started happening. Files would go missing from my computer. Sketches I was certain I'd completed couldn't be found. I blamed my scattered artist's mind, never suspecting the truth. Vanessa offered to help me recreate them, sitting beside me as I explained every detail of designs I'd poured my heart into. "Your memory is incredible," she'd marvel, taking notes I thought were innocent. One night, James mentioned a meeting with my business manager that I knew nothing about. When I pressed him, he looked confused. "Vanessa said she was coordinating with you," he explained. The first thread of doubt unraveled inside me, but I quickly stitched it back. Vanessa was my friend, my confidant, the person who held me when my mother died, who believed in me before anyone else. Suspecting her felt like betraying myself. But some instincts can't be silenced, no matter how loud the excuses we make to drown them out. The day my world collapsed started like any other. I was finalizing fabrics for our upcoming wedding when James called, his voice distant, formal. "We need to talk, in person." 4 words that turn your blood to ice. When he arrived at my studio, his eyes wouldn't meet mine. "I can't marry you," he said flatly. No explanation, no chance to fight for us, just a clean surgical cut through everything we'd built. I begged for answers. Had I done something? Was there someone else? "You're not who I thought you were," was all he said. That night, I lay on my bathroom floor, phone clutched in my hand, calling Vanessa repeatedly, straight to voicemail. My best friend had vanished exactly when I needed her most. 2 days later, still hollow-eyed and bewildered, I went to James's office, determined to understand. That's when I saw her, Vanessa, emerging from the conference room, smiling at James's assistant like she belonged there. She didn't see me, I made sure of that, but I saw everything. The way she carried my portfolio case, the familiar designs spread across the table through the glass walls, my designs in her hands. 3 weeks later, the announcement appeared in Fashion Week Daily. Rising designer Vanessa Mills, engaged to tech mogul James Harrington. Mills, whose innovative bridal designs have caught industry attention, will showcase her debut collection next month. Accompanying the article was a sketch of her signature piece, my wedding dress, my dream, my story. Every seam, every embellishment that I'd created to symbolize our love, now credited to her. I collapsed on my kitchen floor, physically ill at the magnitude of the betrayal. In one calculated move, she'd stolen my designs, my fiancé, and my future. The 2 people I trusted most had conspired to erase me from my own life. And as the shock faded, something hardened inside me, a determination I'd never known I possessed. This wasn't the end of my story, not by a long shot. For 2 weeks, I barely functioned, didn't eat, didn't create. My life's passion felt tainted by betrayal. Then, while clearing out my apartment, I couldn't afford it without James, I found an old laptop Vanessa and I had shared during design school. On a whim, I powered it up, not expecting anything but a painful trip down memory lane. That's when I found them, dozens of emails between Vanessa and potential buyers, dating back months before my breakup. Emails with attachments of my designs, watermarked with her name, evidence of her methodical theft hidden in plain sight. My hands trembled as I dug deeper. In her deleted folders were messages to James, carefully crafted lies about me selling designs to his competitors, fabricated conversations suggesting I was using him for connections. She'd created an elaborate illusion, positioning herself as the loyal friend while painting me as an opportunist. The puzzle pieces clicked into place with sickening clarity. I reached out to my old professor, who had original copies of my student work, designs that clearly showed my distinctive style, predating everything Vanessa now claimed as hers. I recovered cloud backups, with timestamps proving the creation dates of my stolen pieces. Each discovery fueled something new inside me, not just anger, but purpose. Then came the unexpected ally, Mira, James's executive assistant. She messaged me through a secure app, wary of company surveillance. "Something's not right with her," she wrote. "James isn't himself. The wedding's being rushed. 3 months from announcement to ceremony. Unheard of for someone as methodical as him." Mira had access to everything: schedules, guest lists, venue details. The wedding would be at the Royal Botanical Gardens on the 28th. Exclusive, high security. Impossible to crash. Every night I added to my evidence file. Every morning I woke with more resolve. The countdown to their wedding day became my timeline for justice. The question wasn't whether I would act, but how and when to deliver the truth for maximum impact. They'd stolen my designs and my love. I would reclaim my power. I consulted with an intellectual property lawyer who confirmed what I already knew. I had an ironclad case of design theft, but legal justice would be slow, public, messy. What I wanted was more immediate, more poetic. With Mira's help, I tracked the wedding preparations, watching from a distance as Vanessa paraded through exclusive bridal shops, giving interviews about her creative process while wearing my designs on her body like stolen skin. The package I prepared for James was meticulous, undeniable proof organized chronologically, original sketches, time-stamped files, the damning emails where Vanessa had offered my work to competitors, photos of my design wall from months before she claimed to have created the same concepts, and finally, a simple note: "She stole more than designs from me." Ask yourself why she rushed this wedding. I didn't sign it. I didn't need to. The wedding day arrived, sunny, perfect, insulting in its beauty. Through Mira, I knew the exact schedule. I delivered the package to James's hotel room at 7 a.m., when Vanessa would be at her hair appointment. Then I waited, watching from a coffee shop across from the gardens, as guests arrived in their finery: fashion icons, tech billionaires, the people who should have been celebrating my talent, my love. At precisely 2:15 p.m., as Vanessa stood at the altar in my wedding dress, my creation telling my love story, James pulled out his phone. His face transformed as he scrolled through my evidence. He looked up at Vanessa, then back at his phone, then whispered something to the officiant. The murmurs rippled through the gathering as he held up his phone to her. Her scream pierced through the gardens. They were my designs, mine. Her mascara ran as she clawed at the phone. "She was using you. I saved you from her." The perfect bride dissolved into a raging, desperate woman as security escorted shocked guests away from the spectacle. Through it all, I watched silently from my distant bench, feeling something between vindication and hollow victory. As the empire of lies crumbled under the weight of truth, James called me 3 days after the wedding. That wasn't. His voice was hollow, humbled. "I should have trusted you," he said. "I should have asked questions." He wanted to meet, to apologize in person, to make things right. Part of me, the part that had once planned a future with him, fluttered at the possibility. But a stronger, wiser part recognized that some broken things shouldn't be repaired. "I forgive you," I told him, surprised to find I meant it. "But I'm building something new now." The scandal had done something unexpected. It had put my name in the spotlight. Fashion blogs dissected the drama. Industry insiders reached out with sympathy and, more importantly, opportunities. A well-known designer who'd been at the wedding offered me a collaboration after seeing my original designs in James's evidence file. "Talent will always find a way," she told me. I launched my debut collection 6 months later. No billionaire backing, just a small business loan and my own determined hands. The show was intimate, authentic, completely mine. When the final piece, a reimagined version of my wedding dress, transformed into something stronger, more resilient, came down the runway, I felt a chapter close and another open. The collection sold out within days. Vanessa disappeared from the fashion world after multiple designers came forward with similar stories of stolen concepts. Last I heard, she'd moved cross-country, working retail at a mall boutique. James sent flowers. After my successful launch, I donated them to a nearby hospital. Sometimes people ask if I regret not taking him back, not reclaiming what was stolen from me. They miss the point. What I gained was far more valuable than what I lost. My integrity, my independence, my confidence in my own vision. I learned that your work, like your heart, must be protected, but never hidden away in fear. The betrayal nearly broke me, but the rebuilding made me unbreakable. Sometimes the most beautiful designs emerge from the scraps of what was torn apart. And as painful as it was, I wouldn't change a stitch of my story. It's been just over a year since that fateful wedding day. My second collection launches next month, and advance orders have already exceeded our projections. I've moved into a sunlit studio overlooking the city, smaller than James's penthouse, but completely mine. Every morning, I wake up and choose to create rather than dwell on the past. I ran into James recently at an industry event. It was less awkward than I'd imagined. We spoke briefly, cordially. He's dating someone new, a doctor with no connection to the fashion world. I genuinely hope he's found someone honest this time. As for me, I'm dating my work for now, though there's a kind photographer who keeps finding reasons to collaborate. We'll see. The most unexpected outcome of all this, I've become somewhat of a mentor to young designers, teaching them not just about fabrics and stitches, but about protecting their intellectual property, trusting their instincts, and recognizing red flags in both business and personal relationships. One woman told me my story gave her the courage to confront her own design thief. Those moments make every painful memory worthwhile. They say success is the best revenge. But I think there's something even better: living authentically, creating fearlessly, trusting again, but with open eyes. The truth always finds its way to the surface, and karma has perfect timing. If this story of sweet revenge satisfied your justice cravings, smash that like button and subscribe for more unbelievable true stories. Drop a comment about what you would have done in my shoes. New videos every Wednesday and Sunday. And remember, sometimes the most beautiful designs come from patterns that were once torn apart and reimagined with wisdom. Your next chapter might just be your masterpiece.